This is Gary Liu reporting from Real News Network, and on this week's edition, Andreas Lolis and I were sent out to discover the truth. Is the library truly a welcoming place? We first headed to the cafeteria to interview fellow students. Our first interviewee was George Harrington, a junior. Let's see what he had to say about it.
Hi, we're here with George Harrington. What grade are you in?
I'm a junior.
All right, and could you spell your name for the camera?
George, a space HARRINGTON.
All right, George Harrington. And can you tell us, do you think that the library is a welcoming place?
Yes, I think it's very welcoming, especially when you see Mr. Neenan. You know, whenever I see him, a smile just goes on my face.
And how do you feel about how the fact that Mr. Neenan sometimes kicks people out just for eating a chip?
I think he's just, trying to preserve the natural beauty of the library,
So if you went in there right now with these chips and you started eating them, do you know that you could get sucker punched by Mr. Neenan?
Yeah, I'm just playing Mr. Neenan. I don't really like Mr. Neenan because I'll tell you something. So I went in there, was eating food. The librarian's kicked me out, and then he chases me down.
Really?
No, he chases me down in another class. He's like, if you do this one more time, I'm gonna get sent to the AP. I'm like, what?
So did you do it another time?
I did it one more, but he didn't send me to the AP. But I'm up thin ice.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go down right now and start eating chips in the library?
Maybe. No, I have to get to class.
Oh, you do? All right. Well, can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
So, how do you also feel about the fact that if your voice goes above a whisper, then they will literally hunt you down and murder you in your sleep?
I think the librarians can be very intimidating, Sometimes I just try to talk about, books and stuff because I'm just passionate about my love of reading and they just get mad at me.
And do you think that the librarians should change their policies at all?
Yeah, I think they should allow eating because I like to eat.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harrington.
Thank you.
Get back to class, you're late.
I know.
As you can clearly see, the library denied George of his basic nutritional rights. Our next interviewee was freshman Jake Motel. What did Jake think about the library's food policy?
So Jake, how do you feel about the fact that Mr. Neenan always has at least 2 shirt buttons exposed?
Well, I think it's a little sexually inappropriate to see that. If you come on the floor, or he's gonna send you to jail, basically.
You would be sent to jail for eating chips in the library, correct?
I did say that.
What did you mean by that, sir?
Well, you might have thought that I was talking about a rumor, or you might have thought that I was talking about, just, exaggerating by that. But between me and you, there's actually been, rumors that he was actually sending people to jail for eating chips. I'll tell you a story. And my brother's friend, he had a bag of Doritos, and this was his 3rd time doing it. And he was eating chips. Mr. Neenan, he actually grabbed him by the collar, shoved him out the door, and the cop took him, and we've never heard of him again. My brother's friend. He's gone.
Jake's testimony was absolutely horrifying, and we wanted to learn more about this prison. Next, we spotted Beckett Siskin, a fellow freshman, and also a huge advocate for food rights in the library.
We've heard a few rumors about some sort of jail that you get sent to if you bring food into the library. Could you elaborate on this a little bit?
Haven't heard of it, but I have heard some stories. Doesn't sound too fun.
Hearing these terrifying experiences, we realized that we needed to get first-hand information from a former prisoner. After scouring the school for generations, we finally found Samuel Burns, whose life was forever changed after eating a bag of Doritos.
Sam, do you think that the library is a welcoming place?
Absolutely not.
Have you had any experiences with the eating policy at the library that led you to this conclusion?
Indubitably. I was eating Doritos in the chat section of the library when I was sent to the prison in the back.
What made you come to this conclusion with the food policy?
Well, I was shoved by Mr. Neenan to the back of the library where there's a jail, and then she proceeded to cut my arm off. As so.
Really?
It really
so,
hurt.
So this is only your stump. There is no other. You lost the front part of your arm.
Indubitably.
And why do you think Colin Neenan cut your arm off?
Because so I could ever eat Doritos ever again.
Oh, so now you can never break the library's totalitarian rules ever again, correct?
Indubitably.
Andreas and myself were both appalled and shocked by Sam's grotesque recollection of his imprisonment. Next, after a daring nighttime raid of the LMC, we uncovered security footage detailing Sam's imprisonment by the hands of Mr. Neenan.
Where am I? Am I in prison? It's kind of cold in here.
You ate a bag of chips? Off with your arm. Ah! Here we go.
Ah! Ah! No! I'll never be able to eat Doritos ever again.
Footage was absolutely horrifying and showed an innocent Sam brutalized by the library's regime. We could not let these injustices and gross violations of human rights go on any longer. We decided to confront Neenan with the evidence.
Mr. Neenan, we've heard some allegations that the violators of the food policy at the library have been sent to a torture prison in the library, and their arms are mutilated. So what do you have to say about these allegations?
Do you have any pictures of mutilated arms?
I do, actually.
You do?
What do you have to say about Sam Burns, whose arm was cut off in your torture prison?
Well, yeah, no, his arm is actually, let's have him come in and we'll find out that is in fact his arm. This is a misleading photograph. He actually has both arms and we're very happy that he does.
Well, as you can see in the camera, his right arm has clearly been cut off.
Okay, this is a great example of, fake news, and it's pretty clear that in fact he's just hiding his arm under his shirt.
Mr. Neenan knew deep down that this was a real photo, as we had all met Sam and clearly saw that his arm was indeed missing. However, Neenan had the audacity to claim that Sam had just stuck his arm up his shirt like this, which was frankly quite insulting to Sam. So, to disprove Mr. Neenan's point, we decided to surprise Sam by throwing a water bottle at his missing arm.
Hey Sam, catch.
There's not a single shred of doubt that Colin Neenan and his librarians have committed several human rights violations inside their own library. My fellow patriots, we must act at once and arrest.
As we can see from these students fearfully fleeing for their lives, the library is the antithesis of a welcoming place. As such, we must take real action to stop Colin Neenan and his horrendous atrocities once and for all. Hey, we're here with Jake Modal. Could you spell your name for the camera?
Sorry.
What made you come to this conclusion with the food policy?
Well, I was shoved by Mr. Neenan to the back of the library where there's a jail, and then she proceeded to cut my arm off. As so.
Really?
It really hurt.
So this is only your stump. There is no other. You lost the front part of your arm.
Indubitably.
And so, what kind of retribution would you like to see done to Mr. Neenan?
Fire.
And one more question. Actually, I'm not gonna say one more question. We're gonna cut that.
Say it again, say it again.
Stop looking.
Say it again, say it again.
I like put that in.
I was actually gonna. All right, go. Be loud.
Where am I? Am I in prison? All I did was eat a bag of chips.
We're here with Beckett Siskind, and we were just wondering, do you think that the library is a welcoming place?
I think the library sometimes can be a little scary when I bring my food in there and then they just send me right out. Sometimes I need to eat my food when I'm studying. Like, I need to do work. Like, it's just a necessary thing to do. Like, I need to eat and do work.
You filming him?